while your day is winding down. They're just getting started. This is South Coast Tonight with Chris McCarthy and Marcus Farrow. They've got you covered on all the news of the day, from local issues to politics on both sides of the aisle. This is the place where the movers and shakers come to be heard, to listen, and where they're held accountable. This is South Coast Tonight on WBSM.
So, Marcus, as we were discussing off the air, you could say anything as long as you make it funny.
Yes,
right.
You can, yes.
And so I do appreciate that caller we had about the blue dress. So, folks, we've had an overwhelming participation on the app chat for the Red Sox tickets. What we did is we had you send in your best Red Sox story. We're going to do it again because the overwhelming success of it, we wish we had more tickets to give away. We will have them throughout the season from Lang, Scott Lang, Mayor Lang, from Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard. That's who's going to send you the tickets. So what we did is we took all the stories. We can't really grade on the best because they're all really good. So we just assigned them a number, picked it out of a hat. Marcus, we came up with number 9. What is number 9?
Number 9 is Billy Whizbang from New Bedford.
Billy Whizbang. We have his email there, right?
We have Billy Whizbang's email. He will be emailed the tickets from Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard. Enjoy the Sox game tomorrow. Billy Whizbang from New Bedford. Thanks for participating, and thanks for tuning in and listening to South Coast Tonight. And to everybody else, there's going to be opportunities throughout the entire summer. So you're going to want to tune in. You're going to want to send us an app chat message and
download the app.
But the app's just the best anyway.
Right.
It's just the best anyway. So you're going to want to download the app.
So congratulations, Billy Whizbang. And I'm sorry your parents passed that name along to you. but
yeah.
We have your email, and you'll be expecting an email from the law office of Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks to everyone for participating. And remember, just because you didn't win this time, we'll have 4 tickets again coming up in the near future. So make sure you're always tuning into South Coast Tonight. As I said, if you're outside of the area, but you're reasonably distanced from Fenway Park, you should always participate in this contest when we do it in the future.
Yeah, and we want to thank our friend Scott Lang, the managing attorney, former mayor of New Bedford, at Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard. Again, that's Scott Lang at Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard, our law firm and yours. Right. So 508-996-0500 is how you can get in the program. We've been talking about the Red Sox, but we've also been talking about the Trump indictment of crimes we have yet to hear.
Right. It's tough to get upset until you hear what the crimes are.
Exactly.
But it is suspicious. As I said, it looks very politically direct. I think you agree with that, Marcus, that it's obviously show me the man, I'll find the crime, which is not how our justice system works.
Yeah. No, it absolutely isn't. It is not how our justice system works. And we do think that there is probably some more indictable stuff that he may or may not have committed, like we said, with respect to the classified documents thing. Right. And I just wonder if optically this was the right move for the Democrats. I do want to say, there's probably opportunity for Republican attorneys general and DAs to try the same thing. And I think if they have the case, they probably will.
But we've never seen it.
We've
never seen it.
Tell you what, I'm a fair guy. Let's prosecute all presidents. Let's exhume Reagan and prosecute him for Iran-Contra. Let's go after Clinton.
I'll tell you, Marcus, the one that's always stuck in my craw is when the Obama Justice Department prosecuted Jesse Jackson Jr. and his wife for campaign finance violations and jailed both of them.
Yeah.
The Obamas and the Jacksons did not get along.
Yes.
They were both from Chicago,
do that.
African-American political families who competed.
Yeah.
You remember the famous quote by Jesse Jackson, I want to clip his nuts off.
Yes.
Is what he said about Obama. Got caught in a hot mic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the president ever forgot that.
No.
And they put Jesse Jackson Jr. and his wife in jail. They had children, so they had to go at different times to jail.
And Jesse Jackson Jr. was a member of Congress.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was a member of the Chicago City Council over campaign finance laws.
Rob, speaking of Illinois, Rob Blagojevich still believes he was a victim of political prosecution because you know who the U.S. attorney was who prosecuted him? Lori Lightfoot,
Right.
who clearly had some political ambitions, which were recently dashed. But
She looks like she could rise from the dead. I don't know.
508
Looks like she may have.
996
By the way, as someone who's
0500.
risen from the dead, I can make that joke.
You can.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
How you doing?
my friend. How are you?
Hey, my friend, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, can I take you guys in another direction?
Absolutely.
All right, okay. I was watching, when I'm not listening to you, talking politics because you guys can't, so I figured I'd watch it to, bring
We
things
appreciate
to you.
that.
Thank you.
Okay. And one of the things they did at the end of the show is they discussed Elizabeth Warren's recent declaration that she would run again for the U.S. Senate. And what they said was in a poll that was done that she was favorable 46 to 37, and another poll, the same thing, favorable. They claimed in the poll that there were some young people that were not exactly happy with Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
Right. Although they pointed out that maybe she could win those young people over very easy with her support of the cancellation of money for college
Student
that
loans,
people
sure.
have to pay.
Sure.
However, they did point out that by her doing that very early, she eliminated talk of the mayor of Boston, Mayor Wu, of running for that position. Because there was some talk about maybe her joining the Biden administration.
Mayor Wu, I believe, worked for Elizabeth Warren, or was one of her students in law school.
Yeah, well, again, by her saying that, and she is now supporting, of course, Warren. And the lady that won in Boston against that guy that had been there for a long time.
Ayanna Pressley.
Ayanna Pressley, yeah, that there was talk about Ayanna
She
Pressley.
wouldn't do it.
Well, again, unless, Elizabeth Warren moved on, or maybe if old Joe decided not to run for president anymore, maybe she'd go back and...
I'd venture to say she's the front runner if
Okay,
Joe doesn't
so
run.
anyway, they were putting that up.
Yeah.
And mind you, they also mentioned that maybe she could get a challenge from someone in the Democratic Party. This came from Joan Vanacki. I don't know if you're
I'm familiar with Joan Vanacki, the Boston Globe.
And she says there's a possibility she might get a challenge from the, more conservative wing of the Democratic Party, from your friend and mine,
No,
Jake Auchincloss.
Jake won't do that.
Well, again, that's, I'm just repeating what I heard on Talking Politics, and what do you guys have to say?
Well, look, I think Jake Auchincloss would have a case to make, but I don't know if he'd have a constituency.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he would have a hard time in the Democrat Party as a white male veteran from a wealthy family defeating Elizabeth Warren. I just don't know if there's a constituency. Maybe
technically
there is.
a Kennedy.
Well, they talked about him as being young and lean. That's what they said.
So was a real Kennedy, but he didn't make it.
But here's the thing: Jake Auchincloss is a rising star in the Democratic Party.
Yep.
There's no doubt about
Yep,
that.
that's what they.
But he's still pretty wet behind the ears. He's still very green, right? In his tenure, and I don't think he's going to have. I think he's going to run into the Joe Kennedy problem, where people are. More, it'll be difficult to articulate an argument against Elizabeth Warren, right? And as far as Elizabeth Warren's favorabilities go, I remember listening to another pollster, I think it was Steve Kozzela at Mass Inc. She's still got like a 62% favorability in the Democrat Party, and that's really all that matters is her favorability there. So if it's at 62%, I think a guy like Auchincloss, a really smart guy, is going to read the tea leaves and say, I'm going to sit this one out and look for another opportunity.
Well, they mentioned that the poll that they looked at, it was 46-38 with people being unfavorable, and that she
that's in general.
She has a base in Boston, okay?
Right.
But maybe in other areas she might not be that strong.
Yeah.
And again, they mentioned that young people are not, but again, they came back and said, Jessie Vermeil, I think that's her name too.
Jessie Vermeil.
Vermeil, I'm sorry. Okay, she was on there too, and
she lost the Auchincloss in the primary.
Yes,
yeah,
I know. But again, they pointed out that Auchincloss was young and lean. Okay,
Yeah.
And as a possible person who might, they mentioned Charlie Baker could not run for the Republicans because
lose too much money.
He's hated.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's the way they pushed it. But again, as far as a Republican challenger, they said they got to get somebody. Maybe the return of Scott Brown.
I don't think Scott Brown is interested
Scott's
in doing it.
having a good time with his band.
Yeah.
He was just ambassador to New Zealand for a while. Got to avoid COVID entirely, basically.
Well, all he's got to do is jump in that truck again and start going around
driving.
pressing the flesh.
Scott Brown, his campaign was lightning in a bottle. He already lost to Elizabeth Warren, and
but he also won.
it was the perfect. Yeah, I know, but it was the perfect.
He also went up there and told him, "Look, let's not have this thing where you can play on the stock market and get money." And then they put it in, and then once he was out, they put it.
That's all.
With the Republicans in charge of Congress, I think there's a case to be made, that you should have a member of your delegation as a Republican, but
in the House, the Democrats all the control of the Senate.
But if you bring them over to the Senate, it would change the makeup of the Senate significantly.
It'd be a 1-vote difference,
right? So
they'd still have the tiebreaker.
The Senate is, you can make the argument you need a person of a Republican Party member in your federal delegation, but is that enough of an argument? By the way, you still have to find a person who's willing to run an uphill battle with their political
I think
career.
that's actually a tough argument to make, because you're going to want to say, I think conversely, the Democrats say, well, the Supreme Court's on the ballot, I
get that they have an option to make an alternative argument. What I'm saying is that you still have to find someone who's willing to say, I'm going to dedicate a year of my life
to
for an
something
uphill
I'm probably
battle.
going to lose.
Is there anybody out there in the Republican Party could do, what Scott
Maybe
Brown did?
Amore, if you wanted to try to bring him back.
Amore?
He's got name recognition. He's run statewide. But look, I don't know what his resources are, what his personal life is like in terms of he just put his whole life on hold for a year.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Again,
the statewide campaign.
Do that.
Again, the Scott Brown thing, though, when he originally ran, getting in the truck, having on the outdoor jacket, pressing the flesh, doing that sort. Hey, I'm like you, this sort of stuff. I think one of the things that Warren is weak on, and so is Markey, they've brought nothing back to the state. They're involved with national issues.
Right. Here's what the thing is with the Scott Brown election is that it was the perfect storm for the Republicans. You had a very bad candidate that was running for the Democrats. You had a very charismatic candidate, Scott Brown, running for the Republicans. Mm-hmm. You had the national the national vibe shift away from the party in power.
The end of an era. Ted Kennedy was gone.
Ted Kennedy was gone. Not only that, it was February in a midterm year.
Special election.
A special election.
Republicans turn out a special election.
There was a perfect storm of
Coakley.
Who?
Coakley.
Coakley. She was the attorney general.
Exactly.
Yes,
who?
yeah, do I have to stand outside of Fenway Park and shake hands with people in the cold?
Yeah, that's who he beat.
Actually, her big mess up was here on WBSM.
Yeah, tell the story. It's good.
She came on to interview at the suggestion of some local political people with Ken Pittman. Mm-hmm. Ken Pittman asked her a question about unrestricted abortion, which I do not want to trigger a question on abortion, but I'm just saying that's what Ken Pittman asked her about. She said basically no restrictions on abortion whatsoever, and that became the story. WBZ picked it up. Dan Ray picked it up. He asked her about it. She repeated it again on Dan Ray's show, and at that point, all the people who just really think there should be some restrictions on abortion were just really turned off by it. It took her whole campaign off message.
It galvanized the base that turned out in a special election in February.
There are a lot of old school Democrats that still think there ought to be some reasonable restrictions on abortion.
Yeah, I don't want to.
That she didn't want, and that triggered the rejector. So it was terrible.
I think that would be a winning argument these days after what happened with Roe, but.
Well, the thing that
10 years ago
was, what did they do? What did they expect me to do? Go out in front of Fenway Park and in the cold shake hands?
That's I mean, she was incredibly off-putting. Unlike Elizabeth Warren, who is actually very charismatic, and
I think have a beer now and then, and I'll make sure she's having.
Look, I had an interview with Elizabeth Warren on substantive issues. She was strong on all of them. I walked away feeling really good about her as our senator. She was hearing aids, gambling in the military, and I forget the other issue.
Yeah,
marijuana federalization.
And I think she's got a chairmanship on the subcommittee on banking, and now there's all these banking issues that she's going
after. She's very good on banking.
Yeah.
Before she ran. There was a PBS program where they're talking about the banking crisis there, I guess, in 2008, and she was for regulation and having supervision and all that sort of stuff, and that's the stuff that they let go. I'm not trying to get back on Trump, but
Right.
supposedly Trump let that go. And again, greed is good.
She actually, I'll tell you, there's a letter out there that she wrote about Credit Suisse.
Yep.
Asking the Biden administration to continue to uphold the ban on Credit Suisse from
Very
handling
intelligent
pension
on that.
funds, right? She really understands banking.
Very, very
okay?
strong on that. I would agree.
You need someone at the Senate level who understands the issue. Whether or not I agree with what her specific remedies are is really beside the point. I want someone that has experience and knowledge. They can make the decision, but when they do no work and have no experience, that drives me crazy.
But again, question is, if old Joe decides not to run or can't run, and
Right.
she runs,
I think she has to run.
okay, what does that mean to your friend Jake Auchincloss?
Oh, then I think
that's a different story.
Yeah, that's an entirely different story. Then
But
he's
also,
looking into
Kennedy
it.
flies in.
I don't know if
Joe Kennedy flies
wanted
in.
to- and I like
Think
him.
so?
Don't get
From
me
Ireland?
wrong. I was
Oh,
with you
absolutely.
guys. I thought that was the way to go.
Yeah.
But again, Auchincloss a little bit more conservative. I think
like
a Republican
Auchincloss.
at one time. No,
He was, yes. Charlie
Okay.
Baker.
So if you're looking to take the party a little bit more to the right, I think what this local delegation misses things on is that they don't bring home the bacon, okay? And that's for all of them, okay?
Look, I thought it was really
that's
bad.
what Ted Kennedy always did. He took care of the national, but he brought home the bacon too.
He was very close to the defense industry. He brought all those defense contracts home to Massachusetts.
Yep.
That one right over here in Marion that we recently lost. We talked about
Oh,
it.
that's
I thought it was a
big loss.
real letdown. And we have a lot of
Absolutely.
our federal delegation is involved with the armed services. That's the only thing the government does really, and or should do. And they have the for us to lose defense contracts.
Well,
here.
you-
Well, what, you talking about Lockheed Martin?
Yes.
They were doing that anyway, though. They were all relocating to New York.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Let them go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they were taking companies from not just here. They were taking it everywhere.
No, I know,
Yeah, I don't
but
want
we
to take
have.
it.
I don't care about those. I care about
Yeah,
these.
yeah.
We have
But
Congress.
Lockheed Martin had a plan to
You're
consolidate.
not supposed to have a plan. You're supposed to spread the money around to all the congressional districts.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Fair enough.
Well,
The FTX fighter jet.
Yeah.
The Kennedy administration.
Well, you know my pet peeve too with the whole delegation. Not to knock your
ahead.
friend, and I'm glad he's got an ear here with you guys, Representative Keating.
I haven't heard from him in a while.
Those bridges, okay? The whole delegation. That's the key to make Massachusetts get a lot of money is to open up the Cape, not have it Patty Page's old Cape Cod, but have it a modern Cape Cod, that sort of thing. And again, 100-year-old bridges that cars with running boards went across. To me, if I was the delegation today, I would be trying to get close to not running again and everything. I would try to leave a legacy.
Yes.
And that would be my legacy.
A tunnel to Martha's Vineyard.
Well, not a tunnel. Chris.
tunnel to
I'm not
Martha's
trying to
Vineyard.
be facetious here. I'm trying to be really true.
I'm serious. Let the poor
True.
people of New Bedford enjoy Martha's Vineyard. Put a tunnel to Martha's Vineyard.
Hey, listen, we got to take this
Can I
break.
do one other thing?
Sure, go
Sure.
ahead.
I was very impressed by Stephanie Pickup. I'm going
Yeah.
to tell you right now, if I could vote in Fairhaven, I would vote for her.
I'll give you a name.
Because she went in there, charmed you two guys,
Yes.
tied a tin can to your tail, walked you right in and walked you right out again, okay? And then what she said was she was against your champion issue, the override of 2.5. What I heard
And
in
we
her
took
voice
it
was
like-
the old sharpen our pencils, tighten our belts and everything.
You'd like
So-
to hear that in New Bedford, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. Boy, you know my heart.
Yes, drive
Chris. I'll
Stephanie.
tell you know my heart.
Yeah.
But she really charmed you guys.
She did.
And
She
again,
did.
I didn't hear you guys say, hey, wait a minute now. We got the firemen and everything.
Yeah,
If you heard what I said, I was looking for her to require the school department to take less funds so the firemen get
Hey, we
their
really
money.
got to take this break. I
All right,
appreciate
guys.
the call.
Thanks
Thank you,
for
my
listening.
friend.
Talk. See you later. Take care, guys.
Stay,
did charm us.
If you're on the line, stay on the line. She did. Yeah.
She did. We did lose. Yes. We've been talking about the Trump indictment or what we know about it.
Yeah.
Our opinions on it. I think we're getting calls at 508-996-0500.
Let's actually go back to the phones. Good evening.
Oh, hello, Chris and Marcus.
Hello.
Good evening. I need you folks to give me some hope for this country. This indictment for Trump, I feel it's the end of our democracy. I don't understand it that the charges are sealed, and I don't understand that process. If you can give me some hope here, I just find this a real dark day in American history. I appreciate your law background on this, on the process. Okay?
All right. Absolutely. Thanks for the call.
So
Thank you.
my optimism is eternal. I'm an American. You're an American. Marcus is an American. America goes on. It always goes on. We faced worse days than this. It is, in all seriousness, has very little impact on your life. Okay?
I agree.
Donald Trump is a strong man. He's a wealthy man. He's got broad shoulders. They've thrown worse things at him than this. They'll continue to throw things at him. America is always going to be fine, okay? We're the strongest, we're extremely well-structured country. Everyone should pay attention to the rules, follow the rules. I think Alvin Bragg is overstepping. However, do not let it think it's a reflection of America. It really isn't. Our enemies will try to use it, okay? You've already heard it. Foreign leaders saying, you criticize our human rights. How can you dare criticize ours after you have political parties trying to put their leading opponents in prison? But, ma'am, at the end of the day, I want you to think about it. I'm glad you're involved. I'm glad you pay attention. I do too. It's what our show does. But do not think for a moment this really ultimately affects your happiness, your day-to-day life, or that of your family. You control that.
Yeah, I like that, actually. Yeah. What matters is the stuff we usually talk about is the local stuff anyway. What happens with Trump and all of that. I know there's probably a lot of doom casting, but here's the thing. We still don't know what's in that indictment. We still don't know what they charged him with. We still don't know whether or not really it was justified. So that'll all come out in the coming days. And when it does, we'll make those judgments then. But in terms of the end of our democracy and all of that, I think, again, the things that happen closer to you are the things that really matter. The things that happen closest to you are the things that matter the most. And that's why South Coast Tonight exists. That's why it's able to exist, because you all understand that and you're all engaged, not just here within your program, but in your community with your neighbors. So that's what I would say in terms of if you're feeling a little bit pessimistic about your the country. So 508-996-0500 is how you can get in the program. We'll also take your messages on the WBSM app chat. Again, congrats to Billy Whizbang from New Bedford for winning our first ever Red Sox giveaway. He will be enjoying the Red Sox tomorrow at 4 p.m. at Fenway Park playing the Baltimore Orioles. So congrats again to Billy. So 508-996-0500. We'll be doing this throughout. We got a lot of app chat messages, a lot of engagement. We'll be doing it throughout the summer, and that's all thanks to our friends at Lang, Exaferris, and Bullard, our law firm, and yours in New Bedford, former New Bedford Mayor Scott Lang. 508-996-0500. Good evening.
Hey, Marcus, it's me again. Listen, I don't think, I don't think we're going to find out that indictment anytime soon. And you know what else I don't think we're going to find out?
It has to come out on Tuesday.
Really talking about
when they charge him. They'll have to make the
if he's being arrested Tuesday, they have to charge him. They can't hold him in perpetuity after he's arrested.
So you'll see the charges on Tuesday.
I guess we will find out what the charges are. But I don't really think we'll really find out what the charges are. I don't think. You know what I'm trying to say.
You won't know what took place behind scenes.
Yeah, we won't
how we got
know
here.
What happens behind closed doors.
Right.
You know what I mean?
How we got here.
I've always been critical of the grand jury process, honestly, and I was today when I was on with Barry. Yeah.
Another thing too. Oh, you were on with Barry. I'm gonna have to listen to that part. Yeah. I wasn't. I couldn't listen.
First hour at noon. The first hour.
I told you not to go on other people's shows. We want to keep you for ourselves. But go ahead.
Hey, you know what? You know what? Also, too, is kind of bothering me is this whole Nashville school shooting.
What about it?
You know what I mean?
Well, school shootings tend to bother everyone.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, but what I'm real skeptical about is that what is the holdup on releasing that manifesto?
If I don't know. First of all, I don't know what the holdup is, but I would just say there is some school of thought that doesn't want to give the attention to the shooter because it is believed to only encourage more people.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you.
Right. So I think that's probably in everyone's best interest. Ultimately, it will come out though.
Yeah. I don't know. I have my suspicions with that too. You know what I mean? Because if it does have what it says it has in it, what the rumors are about, the transgender community going after the Christians,
but remember something,
the Catholics and
this
everything.
person is no more a reflection of a transgender person than you or I are reflected by someone who did the marathon bombing, as an example, or McVeigh,
Dylan Roof, or McVeigh, or Adam Lanza.
So in other words, we're all individuals. This is America. Some jackass who's got a similar DNA to me is going to rob a liquor store today, probably.
Yeah.
So, but it's got no reflection on me.
There's 1.5 million other transgender individuals who didn't, shoot children to death.
Right. I don't. Again, this person represents themselves. They don't represent the average gun owner. They don't represent the average transgender person. They're just a deeply disturbed person who there were clearly warning signs. There clearly were warning signs ahead of time. Because the reality of it is that it's up to family and friends, if there are any left around a person, who starts to come off the tracks.
I just wish that they would just leave the schools alone. You know what I mean? Like,
that's why they do it.
If you want to make a statement, go rob a bank or something. You know what I mean? Or leave a note.
So the reason so to answer your earlier question, I think the fact that the reason they're not releasing the manifesto is because the person did want to make a statement and they wanted to use dead children to get the attention, right? So just like you said, just release a manifesto, but no one's going to read it but with the dead children. You know what I mean? So in an effort to do our best as a society to curb this in the future, as difficult as that is, they say we're not going to give them any post-killing publicity,
Exactly.
That's just my thought on it.
Right. No, that's true, Chris.
Yeah,
all right. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks, man.
Thanks for the call. We appreciate it. So 508-996-0500. Let's just take another break.
Sure.
1420 WBSM is now also on 99.5 FM.
You. Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, and I have been using a wheelchair since my accident in 1995.
My name is Andrea Dalzell, and I've been using a wheelchair since I was 5 years old.
I guess if I had one message for the general public, it would be that I appreciate your help. But please, ask first.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that I've actually got everything under control.
I think people get nervous. They don't know how to act, so they pretend I'm not there.
What probably bothers me the most is when waiters talk to my companion and not directly to me.
I think everyone with a disability can relate to that parking spot problem.
We know you're just parking in the disabled spot for a second, but please, don't. We're just looking for the same respect and consideration as everyone else.
United Spinal Association is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life of people living with spinal cord injuries and disorders. Download our disability etiquette booklet at unitedspinal.org.
Parenting is hard. Technology can make it harder. The Family Media Plan developed by the American Academy of Pediatrics helps make it easier. Go to healthychildren.org/media plan to create the media plan that's right for your family. Whether you make a full plan or just choose a few parts that matter the most to your family, healthychildren.org/media plan is an easy-to-use tool that will help your family set media priorities and create healthy digital habits in line with your family's values. You'll also get practical tips to help make the plan work. And you can come back to revise your plan as often as you need to, like at the beginning of each school year or during summer and holiday breaks. Raising kids in the age of screens is easier when you have a plan. Go to healthychildren.org/media plan and make your plan today.
I'm a wife and the mother of 2 kids, and I've got a good job.
Bye, Mom. See you, Mom.
A pretty important job. Because of my family and my job, I really care about this neighborhood. It's a good neighborhood. Yes, there's some crime. And when I drive to work, like now, I realize that some people here don't trust the police. So the police should be reaching out to this community, and this community should reach out to the police. That's the way to make this a safer place. And when I get to work in the precinct house and put on my uniform, I can tell you as a police officer that this department is reaching out to the community, and the community is doing its part. We're building partnerships. This should be happening everywhere, This is how we can all be safer. Get involved. Start the conversation.
Start the conversation and help stop crime. To learn the 5 things you can do, go to ncpc.org/prevent violent crime. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
WBSM isn't just a broadcast. It's also a podcast. Get all of our podcasts at WBSM.com, the WBSM app, or just search WBSM on your favorite podcast provider.
Hey, welcome back to the show.
So, Marcus, we gave the Red Sox tickets away, 4 tickets, great seats from Scott Lang, the former mayor of New Bedford, Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard. Folks, make sure you're always listening to South Coast Tonight. Make sure you have downloaded the app.
All season, we'll be giving out Red Sox tickets.
Thanks to Scott Lang, we'll be giving out tickets.
Yeah.
So, I have given the tickets out in years when I had the Sunday show. I gave them away when I had my morning show. So Scott has always been very generous to the listeners of WBSM. When you have legal questions, problems, you ought to go see him. He's a very good guy. So my point being is that stay tuned because we'll be doing this all season long. The tickets are great. And I remember going to see baseball games when I was a little kid. And it made me a lifelong baseball fan. Mm-hmm. And I know that it's sometimes out of people's price range when you add up the parking and the cost of the refreshments there. So it's very nice of Scott and his law partners to give away the tickets. That takes a big chunk of the cost away from you. Gives you the opportunity. 4 seats. That means a whole family, a reasonably sized family can go.
Yeah.
So really, thanks a lot to Scott Lang and thanks to all you listeners. So download the app. That's how we do it. Download the app. Make sure you open an email account. If you heard us this time but couldn't participate, the app is free. You can open a Yahoo or a Google email account. They're all free, very simple to open. And we ship the tickets electronically, so they're already in someone's email box right now. Mr. Whizbang, I believe is his name.
Billy Whizbang. Congrats and enjoyed the game. It was also a fantastic story too.
By Billy Whizbang, I believe it's from a Bruce Springsteen song.
Oh, is it?
I think so. I think it's from oh man, how does it? Anyway, it's from Greetings from Asbury Park.
I read his autobiography, Bruce Springsteen.
Did you?
It's pretty incredible. Yeah.
His dad is I think still alive. His dad had some real serious mental health problems.
Yeah, he came from some pretty difficult circumstances.
Right.
Yeah.
Hence the dark lyrics.
Yeah. Right.
A lot of people who never listened to Born in the USA think it's a super patriotic song. The chorus is super patriotic. It's also super sarcastic. If you listen closer to the lyrics, it is an indictment, quite frankly, of the treatment of our veterans, which I guess is in some ways patriotic, right? Mm-hmm. So I think in some ways, I know in many ways, the treatment of veterans, disabled and otherwise, has gotten tremendously better in this country since the 1970s and 80s. I think that today, people who went to war are appreciated a lot more than they were, certainly, for that period of time in the 1960s and 70s. And that's because the communists brought the war to America, quite frankly, to our city streets. It's really why we lost in Vietnam. But we don't forget who you are. We know who the traitors were. So anyway, the reality is that America will go on. I heard that woman's call, and Marcus, I'm glad she called in because, as we know, one call represents a lot of people who don't ever pick the phone up.
Yeah.
If you're upset about what's going on right now, I understand. I don't agree with it either. But remember, this is America. We've been through a lot more. I remember as a kid, my dad, who grew up in the 1930s and 40s, telling me the Nazis were right off the coast of Massachusetts in submarines, torpedoing ships.
Right.
Life jackets washed up on the beach in Fairhaven when my dad was a little kid.
Yeah.
The Army came and picked up the life jackets. So I get that this thing with Trump is upsetting to some of us. But we had Nazis off the coast of Massachusetts when my dad was a kid. He went on to raise a family, have a job, live a successful life. Don't let stuff bother you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, your life is what you make of it. And I'm not to be Tony Robbins here, but I'm telling you, this is not that big of a deal to you personally.
Right.
Unless you're, in fact, Stormy Daniels.
Or
I'd like you to call me. Actually, don't call me. I can't have the headaches.
It didn't go well for the other guy.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
It did not.
So,
And I'm not.
we're going to take a break. Let's take a break.
So, Marcus, welcome back to South Coast tonight, folks. So I just got a text message from Scott Lang. Mayor Lang says the tickets have transferred. One row is under the roof, so they're dry. View is like you're sitting on the shortstop shoulder. He picked them up in November of 1986. So those tickets that they've been with Mayor Lang since many of you, longer than many of you have been alive.
Yeah.
Right? So
shortly after the Bill Buckner play, right?
Right. That's probably why he was able to get them. Right.
Be, yeah.
The other thing I just want to point out, and we talked about it last time Scott was in, his son Andy. There's a great article in the Wareham Weekly, the Wareham Week paper over there. His son is the president now of the Cape Cod Baseball League, which is the closest thing to professional baseball we get around here. His team is the Wareham Gatemen. They play. As the season goes along, I always go to the games. Mayor Lang is always there. The Cape Cod Baseball League is fantastic. The tickets are free, folks. I'd like to pretend like I'm doing you a favor by giving them away, but I don't have to. You can go right over to it's right behind Wareham. They play right over there, right behind Wareham Town Hall on the baseball field. I think it's
right where the town hall and the high school and all of that.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
they play right over there.
Big complex. Yeah,
and it's free to get in.
Yeah,
the hot dogs and everything is very comparable price, and it's just fantastic baseball.
Yeah.
We're bug spray though. I will say
we're going to check out a few games actually.
We'll be over there, but you always see Scott Lang there. The other part that's great is the parents of the kids who are all headed to the major leagues are right there in the stands too. It's really, really great.
Hey, so I guess we can give the tickets to another person because Billy Whizbang apparently says they can't make the game. They just wanted to share the story.
So we can still give the tickets away to somebody else.
So we can still give the tickets away to somebody else. Isn't that fantastic?
That is fantastic. Let's give them to...
Well, let's pick a random number.
7.
7. 7 is William in New Bedford.
William in New Bedford.
Yeah, William in New Bedford. Congrats. We're going to have Lang, Ferris, and Bullard send you those tickets.
Right. If they, I guess, can they do that? What about Billy Whizbang?
Billy Whizbang emailed back and said that they can't take the tickets. They want to share the story.
Okay.
Yeah. So figured give it to somebody who can enjoy them.
Can use them.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess that person will be getting the tickets. Momentarily, we're going to have to reach out to Scott and have him send the tickets, or this could get really screwed up.
Oh, did we screw it up?
No, Billy Whizbang screwed it up. If you can't take the tickets, folks, going into the contest, it's a hell of a story. You could have called and told us. That's all right.
It's okay.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
So just going forward, folks, if you want to be in a contest and win it, make sure that you don't enter it if you can't go. I don't know how transfer of tickets go. Can you send the tickets back? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
The situation is that baseball is tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We got a great season in front of us. We appreciate Scott Lang for making the tickets available to our listening audience, and that listening audience will be able to pick up tickets all season long.
Yeah.
We will do these contests, but the only way you can get them is if you download the app, you participate in the. Scott says, "Send the tickets back, please." We'll send them to the new winner.
Okay.
So we'll reach out to Billy Whizbang and have him send the tickets back. Thank you, Scott, for continuing to listen. Once again, the mayor's cleaning up other people's messes. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Lang.
We appreciate it.
Professional, calm, competent all the way through. Scott Lang, that's why you bring him in as your lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while Marcus and I were getting flustered, Scott was coming up with a solution. That's why you want to hire him as your lawyer or as your mayor.
Yeah.
Should he offer himself? Will he offer himself?
Will he?
Will he offer himself?
That's the question.
That is the question. Only he can answer it. We can't dragoon him into it. So, folks, all season long, we'll be able to do this. Great tickets, as I said, as Mayor Lang told me. The view is like sitting on the shortstop shoulder. He picked them up in 1986, November of '86. They're under the roof, so they're dry, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. 4 seats. You will enjoy it. You will make a memory, as we can see from so many memories that people have had of going to games. I guess Billy Whizbang wouldn't have seen the hot dog. Well, maybe he would have still, because he'd be under the roof.
Oh,
but the other guy might not have been.
The other guy wasn't under the roof. So you won't get hit with the hot dog.
Which I think is a bonus.
I think that's definitely a bonus. Absolutely.
Unless you really like hot dogs.
Yeah, unless you really like hot dogs.
So the fact is, Marcus, we'll be doing this all year long, but you got to download the app. You got to stay tuned to South Coast Tonight regularly. We're not going to know when we're going to do this next. It'll be random.
It will be
Some
random.
days we'll do it during the week because it'll be a weekend game. Sometimes we'll do it during the week because it's going to be a weekday game.
Yeah.
You just never know.
You just never know. Still got like a minute.
So we got Ken Pittman this weekend.
Ken Pittman tomorrow. We got Brian the Cabbie, Ken Pittman, Jose Matos, Jess Machado.
Jess Machado will probably have a lot to say. You know, Ken Pittman will have a lot to say.
You know, they're all going to have a lot to say. So you're definitely going to want to tune in. I think it's going to be a very active Saturday, as it usually is. And then you got Town Square Sunday with Jim Phillips on Sunday. Great program, a lot of good stuff there as well. So you're going to want to tune into all of that and stay tuned for more Red Sox tickets. Again, thanks to Lang, Extra Ferris and Bullard, our law firm, and yours. And we're going to wrap it up for the weekend. So we'll see you guys on Monday. We've got another great week of shows planned, and that is it. See you later.
See you later.
Bye. Adios.